Each week, nearly a dozen movies are released theatrically. 40 films a month, more than 400 a year. That's a plethora of cinema. Too much cinema. You'd have to be an addict to see all that, but don't fret. We've got you covered. This is CinemAddicts.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's a new week of CinemAddicts. This is CinemAddicts episode 252. Am I recording? Yes, I am recording episode 252 we're covering the week of Friday, July 26, 2024. The big movie that's coming out this week. Do you know what the big movie that's coming out July 26th, 2024, Eric Holmes? Do you have any idea?
Arctic Convoy, but it's probably not that. It's probably something worse.
It's probably some. Oh, here we go. We're going to also talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. I haven't seen it. Bruce Purkey hasn't seen it, or Eric Holmes hasn't seen it. We'll just sort of extemporize, or we'll just talk about whether we're going to go to the theaters or not, or if it's worth talking. Okay, but Eric mentioned a movie called The Arctic Convoy, and that's a movie that I think might be worth your time. We'll see. It's on theaters and on demand.
6.9 on there right now.
Oh, okay, spoiler alert. Very good, Eric. Spoiler alert on The Arctic Convoy in theaters and on demand July 26th. We are done with that review of The Arctic Convoy. Now we need another 30 seconds for The Last Breath. It's a shark movie, Eric Holmes. What's your rating on The Last Breath? Spoiler alert. Do it.
I'm just going to put 3-star banger on that right now.
3-star banger. Okay. Eric Holmes just rated the two features. 3-star banger for The Last Breath.
I hate bearing the lead. I'm just putting the lead right out there, right at the front. So you can stop listening. I actually can skip to Bruce's segment and then, yeah.
And yeah, don't listen to me, because what are my ratings for both movies, Eric Holmes?
I'll put 4 stars on those right now.
Put 4 stars. Don't do that. There might be a change of plans. So that's our running joke. But no, Eric Holmes has rated The Last Breath, shark movie, 3-star banger, and he actually gave 4, if I recall, 6.9 stars to The Arctic Convoy. We're done. Eric, this is our shortest episode 252.
All right.
Anything else you want to say?
Thanks for listening. Come back next week.
All right.
Here's Bruce.
Now, here's Bruce in 3. Oh, wait. Oh, no. And here's Claire. All right. We're back, folks. If only it could be Eric Holmes. Then we would have, because we're doing our Patreon, that would give us 58 minutes before we have to talk to Bruce Purkey once a month. Isn't that a slog, Eric Holmes? We have to see him on Zoom to talk about our Patreon.
I'm excited. I miss Bruce. It hasn't been that long. I miss him already. Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're supposed to say I miss Bruce and put the quotes on the thing by
I'm doing it under the table.
under the table. All right. So here's the thing. Here's the plan, folks. Sorry, we're all over the place. After we record the show, we'll be recording our monthly Patreon. The movies are Brick and Slither. It's Bruce Purkey's month. We're covering the year 2006. We have 2 movies to talk about. Again, we talked about The Last Breath, The Arctic Convoy. We did not bury the lead like we've done the previous 251 episodes. So you can leave us right now and go straight to Bruce, because Bruce is not going to bury the lead. Well, you're going to hear the nice, relaxing sounds of Bruce Purkey. That's why I'm speeding things up, because Eric and I are sort of the neurotic version of CinemAddicts. And now, if you want something nice and smooth, you're going to go to Bruce Purkey and his thoughtful reviews. How's that? Is that my impression of, or impersonation, or mimicking a Bruce Purkey?
That's pretty good.
Can you do a Bruce Purkey right now?
And by the way, last week you were worried about your excitement. But you brought it back this week.
I brought the fakeness back, right? Do you like that? Do you like the superficial fakeness? Yes, I am back. The superficial Greg is back.
Greg Superficialvasti.
Look, Eric Holmes, here's the thing. I'm still continuing to be fake. Can you do a Bruce Purkey? Can you do a Bruce Purkey review of The Arctic Convoy, or anything you want? What's your impression?
You know what? I think Bruce will actually like the Arctic Convoy. I don't know for sure. I suspect, if I had to guess, it'd probably be 4 stars, maybe.
Oh, very interesting.
Last Breath, my guess, it's a shark movie.
He hasn't seen The Last Breath.
Oh, he hasn't?
Yeah,
I'll still guess regardless.
Okay? You'll still okay. What would he have given that shark movie, The Last Breath? What would he have given that movie?
I think he would like some of it.
Really?
I don't think he would like it as much as I do.
I think he would have given it 3 stars, maybe. Not a banger. 3 stars.
Yeah, probably 3 stars.
Yeah, mild recommend.
Yeah, mild recommend, definitely.
Okay, so again, Patreon, we're going to be doing Brick Slither, the year 2006. We're going to get into our 2 big reviews right now for our features. Hopefully, you'll find value added stuff, because let's face it, this episode is kind of a wasted episode because it's a Deadpool and Wolverine week to the mass. But look, we're cinematics folks, not just me, you, me, Eric, and Bruce. It's you guys out there. You guys are the most important part of cinematics. You guys try to actually, I'm assuming, go find hidden gems this weekend, and we'll tell you if the Arctic Convoy, or actually Eric has already told you, but we'll tell you if the Arctic Convoy.
It's not even a hidden gem.
Here we go.
That thing is polished and laid out for everyone.
Keep pulling the rug, Eric. I love it. And then we'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about a show that where cinematics from whence we came from, the Film Vault. Eric Holmes, you have plans for the Film Vault in about a week and a half. By the way, our mutual friend, Anderson Cowan, he is the co-creator of cinematics, and he's co-creator of the Film Vault. He called me the other day, and I made sure to make it go. I saw the Anderson name. I made sure on my iPhone to make sure it goes straight to voicemail, just like any call, straight to voicemail. And then I made sure to leave a message on Anderson when I know he wouldn't pick up. Just say, hey, we gotta call back. Let's hang out. I always do that. Sorry, Anderson. We're gonna talk very, very soon. But speaking of Anderson Cowan and the Film Vault, what plans do you have, Eric Holmes, for a week and a half from now?
Yeah, going to the Film Vault live show. I think Mitch Burns is going to be there. Angie Clark,
the Hollywood persona. Angie Clark's not coming. I don't think Angie Clark's coming, but Mitch Burns.
Probably not. But I'm still holding out. I'm crossing my fingers, holding out hope. Would love to see Angie Clark in person. Would love to see any listeners in person. I think Peter Beta from Middle Class Film Class might be coming out.
He's a busy man, okay. But he loves the Film Vault, so he'll probably show up.
And I don't know who is and who is not coming out, but if you're coming out, hit me up because I got a pretty sweet Airbnb, and in the pictures I saw a little grill on there. I'm like, ooh, we're using the hell out of that grill on. So I hope I don't get there and it's like all torn to crap and whatever, but
no, it'll be fine. It's going to be in a nice area. If you want to hit up Eric, cinematics, the Film Vault, hopefully cinematics and the Film Vault listeners, fans, devotees of those respective universes, hit up Eric Holmes at hamslime@gmail.com. Hit him up. Say, hey, I want to hang out with you for a couple of days before we go to the Film Vault. And he has a pretty spacious abode. So
yeah. I'll be out there late on the 3rd, like 8 in the evening on the 3rd, and then I'll be leaving on the 6th. So yeah, if you're out there and I miss you at the TFV live show somehow, maybe hang out Monday. I'm cool with that.
Okay. And I will be not actually at Eric's domicile at his Airbnb because it's 2 hour and 10 minutes. I looked at MapQuest. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Eric Holmes, our 5-year friendship is not worth it. It's only worth 45 minutes right now. It's counting.
Greg,
next year it's 48 minutes, but with 2 hours and 10 minutes, that's
Greg,
too much.
Last week I said Mitch Burns bought the shower curtain.
Yes, and
I lied. That was me, and it's for you to transport me to the Airbnb, where we will tie you up and force food down your throat.
Oh no, it's family show. It's getting getting very dark.
I didn't want to tell you that. I didn't want to worry you, but you know what? You're my friend. I figure I'll give you the heads up. Okay, you're about to be kidnapped when I come into town.
Thank you, folks. Cinematics listeners, please call the police. Thank you so much for those thoughts, Eric Holmes. But Eric and I will be having a little bit of a late lunch before the Film Vault. So if you want to visit Eric Holmes at the Film Vault event, we'll be eating somewhere in that Hollywood and Highland complex near the Chinese Theater. Make sure to stop by and say hi to Eric Holmes after I pay the check, because I will not pay for whoever's coming to the table. I'm only paying for Eric Holmes' check. You get that, right? No one, Mitch, make sure you talk to Eric after I'm done with the check, okay? Because I'm very cheap, Eric. I'm treating you to dinner that night. FYI,
it's cool.
You got Mitch. All right, Mitch, you are invited to dinner as well. Okay, so the Film Vault, that's again August 4th, I believe, Eric Holmes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to check that out, go to, I think, is it andersonandbryan.com? You know the Film Vault. Go check it out. And hopefully, if you haven't gotten tickets, go get your tickets right now. Go see Eric Holmes. More importantly, go see Anderson and Bryan and Avery and the whole crew over at the Film Vault. And I don't know why do I keep... Can we plug something on Cinematics, Eric? Pitch, man. A drum roll. Go ahead. Pitch something right now for Cinematics.
CinematicsPodcast.com, where you can get all your shower curtains and other murder kit needs.
Murder kit needs. Shower curtain. paddle tennis. What is it? Paddle ball, paddle tennis?
Pickleball.
Pickleball, right? And
Pickleball
shirts.
set.
We don't have stickers anymore, but shirts and I don't know, maybe hats. I'm guessing
No,
mugs.
they had stickers on there, but they were like I mean, all the stuff on there is
Mugs.
way too expensive, but like the stickers were like $6-7 or something like that. And like for a sticker, really?
Right,
So
right. That's true.
hopefully, and I keep, I haven't looked that hard, but I keep, keeping an eye out for a place that we can sell stickers for cheap.
Oh, good.
Because I mean, honestly, stickers should probably be free, but you can't do that online.
Okay, I'm talking
Either way,
about
still looking.
CinemAddictsPodcast.com. Check us out for your merch needs. Support me, Bruce Anderson, Still Gets Cut, and of course, Eric Holmes, who's working very hard on CinemAddictsPodcast.com. I'm going to stop the fake, fast Greg Srisavasdi voice to throw this over to Eric just for some quick thoughts to our good friend, William Lindis. What do you want to say about William? He is such a great friend of ours, a great friend of the show. Most importantly, a great human being. Eric Holmes.
Yeah, William Lindis, a complete sweetheart. And of course, it makes sense that life, they always life seems to hit on the good people, and which William Lindis is definitely one of. Apparently, he's got cancer right now. That's the bad news. The good news is, I believe they caught it early. It's small, so they could probably, William seems pretty hopeful about it. The doctors seem pretty hopeful about it. But yeah, I met, I mean, we've talked to William and Lindis online more than a couple times, and I met him once in person when he came out here. He was in Denver, and yeah, William and Lindis is such a great person. Just want to give him all the hugs and all the love and wish him all the best. And anyone else listening that would like to do so as well. He's more than deserving of all of that. I hope for the best. Everything seems like they caught it early enough that it's probably good. But at the same time, it's like, yeah. Don't take William from us. Please do not take William from
William
us.
Lindis
He's too good of a person. I love him too much.
He's a great person. William, this is Greg Srisavasdi. I glad had myself through Cinematics a lot, but he is, when I look for a review, because, my life is so one-dimensional. I'm all about movies, but William Lindis is one of the few people that I really trust for just a great movie insights, movie reviews. He sees the movies way earlier than any of us do. And he's just a really good soul. I know it's such a cliche to say that, but the way he approached his movie podcast and movie criticism, I think is the way he approaches his life, which is with a lot of sincerity and integrity and insight. And honestly, I can learn a lot from William Lindis, and I continue to learn a lot from him, and I love him very much. Yes, Eric Holmes.
I was going to say, if I was to give William Lindis a rating, it would be 6.9 star banger.
6.9 star banger. I don't know, William. I don't know. I would give you probably 2.5 stars. Some days I don't know about you, William. So
you give him 4 stars.
I'd give him 4. No, I would not give William Lindis 4 stars. You're a 5-star human being. Okay, 4 stars is reserved to all the 99 million movies I give 4 stars to. But William Lindis, 5-star guy. Look, Movie Bears podcast. If you've never heard William Lindis and his crew before, check it out. Go on Apple Podcasts, whatever podcatcher you're on. Or actually join us on our Cinematics Facebook group. He is just a great, great human being. And he bought one of our shirts. Remember what shirt did he buy? That was one of our CinemAddicts.
It's family show, but it's on the Cinema Richards. It's on the
Cinema Richards. What can I say? Hey, Dick is the name of a short.
It is. It's short for Richard. Okay. Yes.
Family show. But thank you, William Lindis, for the merch.
Private Eye. They're also called dicks.
Yes.
Detectives. CinemAddicts. Cinema Detectives. Yeah. It's what we are. That's what it means.
Private dick, my excuse for not dating. So William Lindis, all joking aside, we love you. Get better. And we're looking forward for you to come on Cinematics and tell us about your movie picks, what you think, and maybe you can replace me, because I think sometimes I give too many horrible ratings, and I think we need some real ratings on this program, like Eric and Bruce gives. Now, all right. Let's get to our features.
I mean, 2 of the ratings I'm going to give today are made up ratings.
Yeah, because look, Eric and I made this sort of Faustian bargain. It's not actually a bargain, folks. We didn't see any of these movies, so tell us how me and Eric did on these fake reviews of these movies called The Last Breath. Okay, Now, let's get okay. Eric
Yeah, let's
gave
get serious about having fun.
yeah, let's get serious about having fun. It is a shark movie, The Last Breath. That's all you need to know. But here is the plot summary. Quote, finding the long-lost wreck of the warship USS Charlotte has been the lifelong pursuit of Levi. That's the late Julian Sands. He is an expat running a tourist dive business in the British Virgin Islands. And then there's Noah, played by Jack Parr. He is a college dropout who helps Levi in his diving business. And one day, Noah's college friends, they come to the Virgin Islands to have fun, hang out with Noah. Thing is, Levi and Noah discovered the warship USS Charlotte at the bottom of the ocean. And this could be a very big boon for their business. But the thing is, Noah lets out to his friends that they found that warship and they should probably go down to the ocean and explore. Noah doesn't want to because he thinks it might be a little bit dangerous. But one of his friends, one of his rich friends, offers them $50K for that expedition. They go on that expedition to find that USS Charlotte, go on, and lo and behold, there is a shark, at least one shark, right, at the USS Charlotte. And obviously, all of their lives are in danger. That is the premise of The Last Breath. Let's face it. Here's the thing about this movie. I think the first 20 to 25 minutes is just getting to know these people when they visit Noah. So it's sort of the requisite getting to know you. People have their past ghosts and demons and whatnot. There's also this girl who used to date Noah, and she's Charlotte. No, not Charlotte. I'm trying to find her name, but I'll look her up on IMDb. She's another main character, and she and Noah used to be partners in crime back in college, but now they've gone their separate ways. I'll look up IMDb what her name is, but Jack Parr, and Julian Sands are the main characters in The Last Breath, along with the other college friends, and of course, the shark. What I really loved about The Last Breath is after all of that getting to know you business is done on shore, most of the film takes place underwater. And it's pretty well done and pretty cool to see what director Joaquin Hiden does. And it just seems for its indie budget, I think it punches above its weight. And it's a fitting end to Julian Sands' career. Rest in peace. He has a really meaty role in this film. And I really love where his character goes in The Last Breath. It's pretty resonant as well. So The Last Breath, as far as just escapist fare, well done. And if you love underwater shark movies, that isn't your sort of straight up exploitation shark movie. This is, I think, a little bit above that. Really good drama. And I love the shark stuff in the underwater. Well executed. I'm giving it 3.5 stars out of 5 for The Last Breath. Again, it's in theaters and everywhere you rent movies July 26th. I believe it's a very good rental. And I don't know if it's good. I'm going to put the Amazon links if it's available on our show notes. It is a well done, especially if you like Julian Sands. It's really good. And the new actors, that Jack Parr is very good. And I'm going to look up the actors right now while Eric talks about his thoughts on The Last Breath. Eric.
Yes. So I remember when Titanic came out, they had I don't know if they're like special features or whatever, but they had them going down to look at the Titanic. This movie feels like that. And then because they're exploring a sunken ship and they're looking for treasure. So you got the treasure hunting movie, and then you throw a shark in there. But and it's weird because, like earlier I said, 3-star banger. That implies that this is like a shark, like mayhem. Like what was that?
Sure.
The
Sharknado stuff, like Sharknado. Yeah.
Even the last one we saw, the one in Paris in the.
Oh, I forgot the name of that movie.
Yeah, same director as Mayhem, I believe. But either way, that
right. The one that's on Netflix. The one on Netflix. I'll look that up right now. Yeah.
So that shark movie was like, that movie's all about the sharks. Like, how are they going to kill people? And, it's all visceral and exciting. This one's not really that. This one's more of a kind of a survival horror and also sort of a treasure hunting, sort of Indiana Jones type of thing, but underwater.
Yeah.
And this kind of had a different take. Now, I will say like the effects in this are kind of not great, but I think the characters and the situation and just the whole setup of the movie, like you said, it punches above its weight. So I can kind of forgive the bad shark CGI.
The tension is good. The way they set up.
Oh yeah, the tension is great.
Yeah.
And then even
It's
they
very
have
logical. It seems very logical when someone gets injured, they don't go completely crazy with the execution. You know what I'm saying? You can see architecturally where things are going in the movie. I like the way it was mapped out. That's all
what
I'm
was
saying.
that 47 meters down.
Right.
The
I
with
haven't seen
the
it.
and so in that one they're stuck at the bottom of the ocean or the area that they're at. And there's a shark in it, but the shark's more of a looming threat than it is the reason you're going to see this. So you're watching the, people trying to figure out, like, we got to get up there. We know there's a shark that's getting in our way. Basically, the shark is the obstacle in this.
Yes.
They don't find that out till later, but they're doing the treasure hunt, and then now we got to get back. Or oxygen's depleting. Let's just go back. Well, there's a shark.
Yeah.
That's gonna complicate things.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen Under Paris. The movie that you're referring to,
Yeah,
Eric, is Under Paris. I'm assuming that movie, which is currently, if I recall, streaming on Netflix, that directed by Xavier Gens from Mayhem. You and I, we love, and even Bruce loves Mayhem so much. Probably one of our favorites of this year. No one, by the way, has seen Mayhem. That's such a great action movie. Find it. I think it's just Mayhem with an exclamation mark, but it's just
Mayhem.
Yeah, it's set in Thailand. I think it's just it's a movie. I think I would love to rewatch that movie. That's how much and that's probably one of the top revenge thrillers I've seen, period. So it's so good. And no one has seen it, Eric. It's ridiculous. Okay, so I'm assuming Under Paris is more of a genre-fied shark film because it's agents. And like you were in the last one, more like a survival thriller kind of thing, right? It's more
and Under Paris, you're going to Under Paris to watch the ridiculously of the different shark kills. Like, you're watching all that. This is a different animal. This is a little slower, but a lot more tense. You do have the what's his name? The rich guy that funds the thing.
Okay, yeah, I forgot what his name is, but there's sort of a really rich
like his character, like his character's totally an archetype, but it's an archetype that works in this because I just want to choke the crap out of him.
Right. And the love interest in this movie, who has agency of her own in this film, that actress is Kim Spearman. Forgive me, she's given as one. Kim Spearman, Jack Parr, and Julian Sands are the main.
I didn't know that Julian Sands died. That's actually sad. And he's the guy that's on the boat the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, he passed away.
I had no idea until you said the late Julian Sands, and I thought
he
maybe talking about his character. I'm like, did he die? I can't remember. But
I'm the Asian boy who cried wolf. But no, he passed away, and he was found. He was missing for months. He was. I think I'm messing up the story, but I think he's somewhere hiking or exploring. And he was found. His body was found.
So that's like the same thing that happened with can't remember her name now.
But yeah,
Tarantino's editor.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
She went out for a jog and then just died, and then someone ended up finding her. That's sad.
Very, very sad. And Sands was missing for months. He loved nature, so that's why I was alluding to his character. It's a fitting, sort of a quote unquote end to his career because. Yeah. This character also loves nature, and so it's a really resonant. And what his character does vis-a-vis some of his actions in this film is pretty resonant as well.
But with the limitations on this movie could have been bad, but I love this. I love the direction. Writing's good. The characters are good. This movie should not work, but it does, and that's why I'm giving it a 3-star banger. If you like shark movies, you're going to be in. If you like treasure hunting adventures, you're going to be in. If you like suspense, you're going to be in. If you're into, actually, I should probably just give this 4 stars. Actually,
give it 4 stars.
It's not even really fitting the 3-star banger because I'm trying to think of if you don't like good movies, this will not bring you to good movies.
Okay, Eric, change your rating to 4 stars. 4 stars for Eric.
You know what? I'm actually down with that.
4 stars. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
3-star banger sounds like this is like a exploitational kind of so bad it's good, but this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's like now some people are like the Black Demon. This kind of leans more towards Black Demon territory for me,
Right.
which I loved.
Yeah,
But
I
I
like the Black Demon
hesitate
as
to
well.
make that comparison because I know a lot of people did not like the Black Demon. They're wrong, but that's
You know
fine.
what?
Everyone has their opinion.
You SOB, can you change my 3.5 stars to 4 stars? You actually talked to me. Yeah, this is a 4-star movie. And I
It
think
is.
what's great is, okay, again, I'll say this a million times. My favorite filmmaker is De Palma. And one of the things he really does is he knows how to set up his shots. He makes a really great, even let's just say you hate Body Double, right? You can't argue that he does not know how to frame a shot or to actually
No.
plan out his movies visually. And I think this director, Joaquim Hedden, what he does underwater is really well done for, like Eric was saying, the budget
Are we
involved.
going to talk ourselves up to a 4.5 on this?
Let's stop. Let's stop with our rating. Let's stop. We're going to stop. Eric and I are going to stop. We might go to 6.9.
But if you
Let's
want to
stop.
put 4.5 on the advertising, go ahead. But we're locking it in at 4 stars.
4 star. This is the last rating for Eric Holmes and Greg
But-
Srisavasdi for
but
the last breath.
But like with the
Yes.
Black Demon, it was a shark movie, but it wasn't a shark movie. It was a movie about something else with a shark in it. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I feel about this. Like the
No,
shark
100%.
the shark is not the star of this. The shark is just a looming threat. And the real story is all the other stuff that's going on. And I think
Yes.
that's why this works so well.
100%. Yeah. Wow. Okay. 4 stars. Look, we change as human beings. If we change as human beings, we can always change our ratings. Okay. You guys have been witness to the
I'm
just
afraid-
gradual change of our thoughts. Right.
I'm afraid this is going to get the Black Demon treatment where people watch this and like, I hate it. I'm like, what the hell is what's wrong with me?
They're gonna hate
Am
you.
I the
and
only one that can watch good movies like and no one else sees it? I love The Acolyte. People hate that for reasons I don't understand.
Eric's on an
Black
island.
Demon's rad.
So,
I hope people watch The Last Breath and see
Yes.
the same movie I did because I
Yes.
really like this one a lot.
all right, very good, Eric Holmes. The Last Breath. We should be the publicists of director Joaquim Hedden and the folks involved. Theaters and everywhere you rent
I
movies.
don't know if we can be
Like-
publicists because it would be like, look, you'll probably hate it, but I really like it. That's probably not the greatest thing.
And
for
then
publicists.
also publicists are very organized. You and I are horrible with that. So
Oh, yeah,
theaters,
definitely.
theaters and everywhere you rent movies, July 26th. Bruce would make a good publicist because he's a very good and thoughtful and very organized human being. He does our Google Docs every week. So that is, and he's very good and punctual and everything that me and Eric are not. Now let's get to the Arctic Convoy.
My rating will not change on this.
6.9 stars for Eric Holmes. And look, Eric is presuming he's going to actually put a 4 stars for me, but I'm going to bury the lead right now. And I'm going to give the Arctic Convoy 4.5 stars and work my way backwards and say why I think it's 4.5 stars. I'm going to say this might be a really boring review for you guys because it's just going to be me and Eric 5 to 9 minutes saying, yes, I agree for the Arctic Convoy. Anyways, here we go. It's 1942. Quote, the leader of a convoy carrying vital military supplies to a Norwegian outpost decides to proceed through treacherous, enemy-infested waters despite the recall of their military escort. That is a lot of words. So let's just say it's 1942, World War II, Norwegian ship. It's not a ship that is carrying it's carrying military weapons. It's a convoy, right? But there's only, what do they call that? There's a machine gun outside the ship. That's their only form of defense and offense. The convoy, most of it is just supplies. And they want to take these supplies across the Arctic and go and arm the Russians, okay, in World War II against the German and air naval forces. The problem is there is a British ship that is pretty much right next to the convoy, just making sure that they protect the convoy. The problem is that British ship leaves the convoy and the surrounding other ships, which are also convoys, because they are worried about, supposedly there's a bunch of German air and naval forces right around this perimeter. So now what do you have? You have this Arctic convoy all alone by itself, just with that big machine gun outside on whatever on the deck to protect themselves. And along with 35 civilian merchant ships, they are basically sitting ducks for these German naval and air forces. Will this Arctic convoy survive within the running time of 108 minutes? We're not going to tell you what happens, but I will say that their If you're expecting an action movie just an action scene every 5 minutes, you're not going to get that. There are action sequences in this movie, but the reason why I'm giving this 4.5 stars is Eric mentions one of his beloved or maybe favorite genre is the courtroom genre. And this was not a trial, but this had a great characterizations because there's the captain of the ship and his character, he's all about going down with the convoy and heading straight to actually to their destination, even if they're going to be killed in the process. Because he said, stay the course. Stay the course. He says, and this is not a spoiler, he says basically he considers himself already dead when he enters the ship. And that's, even though that's fatalistic, you can actually get behind that philosophy because he is, like Eric said, saying he is staying the course. But then there is a first mate. We're not going to get into the first mate's past, but the first mate has more of a well-rounded philosophy, meaning, well, we're surrounded by German ships. Maybe we should hide out for a while and not go on that straight line. And maybe we should actually just turn the convoy around and head to Iceland for safer waters and then travel and for another day because everyone else, he wants to save the people on the convoy. So most of the movie has these two people battling their philosophies. And as a viewer, at least for me, I was shifting my alliances quite often, and I loved it. Ended up being more of a philosophical take on what would you do if you were the captain or the first mate. And amidst all of this philosophy, you get maybe within every 15 to 20 minutes, some interesting action moments. And it's a very tense film. I love the Arctic Convoy. Yes, 4.5 stars for me. I've been blabbing too much. Eric Holmes, your turn.
All that, everything Greg said is true. And I will distill it down into this movie is Fury on a boat. That's all you need to know.
Fury on a boat.
I think the only thing I didn't really, it's not that I hated, but like could have done without is the opening titles and then the closing titles. Don't need that. Like just, throw us into the movie proper, as they did after the titles. And I get it. And I'm here and I'm starting to learn about the characters and I get all the characters and I follow them, care about them. And then the situations happen, like the first situation happened. Where
highly rewatchable, right? Highly rewatchable.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. But like one of the first scenes, they're in the boat and one of the ships like far off, like blows up and they're like, what the hell? Oh no, submarine. And then you just see like the things like the submarine just kind of go under and it's like, oh crap. And then the plane comes in and then you see the bombs like hit and just miss a submarine. It's like that. It's a bunch of scenes like that where it's like, oh, this is so good, and like the action scenes are really great.
I can ask a dumb question,
and then hold on. So the action scenes are really great, and then once the action scenes are over, now we're stuck back with the characters.
Yeah,
and I'm really feeling like what they just saw. They're all shooken up by it. Now all of a sudden, what I thought 10 minutes ago is off the table because of what just happened. And it just kind of goes like that. Like the action scenes are few and far between, but when they hit hard because they do the groundwork to build you up to those action scenes.
Yeah, look, when the action scene stops with most movies, you're saying, okay, let's get to the next one. Let's get to the next. No, all the drama. You're a writer. It's just, don't you think it's just a well-written movie?
Yeah. And in fact, it's weird because watching this, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm watching. This is like one of those movies you watch it and you forget you're watching a movie. Like, at worst, I felt like I was watching a documentary. Like there's a camera crew following this crew around, and I'm falling in love with them, understanding them, being annoyed by them, whatever you feel for each one because they're all different, people. Yeah, this thing is great. I just kept getting tickles the whole time, and then I won't get to the ending. I won't give away the ending. But holy crap, that was probably the tensest thing in the whole thing. It's like, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna go A or B? Which one is it?
Right.
And
And
oh
look,
my God, that
you
was
know
so
what?
good.
What's so interesting, Eric, is you're either going to go A or B, and there's going to be a result, right? One
Yeah.
of those choices are going to be wrong. I think what makes this
That's the thing. In that situation, none of the choices
that's
they're
right.
both the right choice.
That's
But
right.
one of them's gonna
Mm-hmm.
and you're really they're really just in a coin
That's
flip at that point. It's like, oh God, what the hell is gonna happen?
that's what makes this movie so interesting is because it presents you've always talked about just presenting both sides in a fair and
Yeah.
equal manner. And that's what this movie does with the first mate and the captain and the people on board. You see both sides equally, and you end up making decisions on your own. This is a movie that makes you think, and while giving you the genrefied experience. And I
Yeah.
think that's a rare thing to do. So,
I would also say, I don't know if Bruce would be annoyed by this or not, but the camouflage scene.
oh yeah, there's a great. That's a
We don't need
great
to say what
camouflage.
it is, but
Yes,
I was like, that is clever as hell. I
that
would
is
never thought
clever.
of that. But
That is
and then
clever.
they had the shot that kind of shows how that works. I'm like, yeah. I can see how that would work.
Also, I don't wrong. I'm not going to give too much away, but there are characters that you are invested in, but most characters, it's easy for you as a moviegoer to map out what they're going to become at the end of the film. And what's interesting about the Arctic Convoy is it gives you really interesting you I was really pleasantly surprised at the development of each of, like, especially the two main characters. I don't know about you, but I did not see a predictable situation with these two people whatsoever. Did you see, as far as,
No, and in fact, like the characters that would be the antagonists aren't really bad guys, and
yeah,
like there's even a scene where you have the coward of the group who
yes,
reveals themselves to be the coward, but at the same time, like you see the situation, I'm like, I can't hate you for that. I get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the antagonist, I'm like, I totally understand where you're coming from. I get it. Like there's no one that's like has a point of view where it's like you're the evil bad guy. Everyone's got a point of view where it's like, I don't know if I would do that, but I get it. You know,
yeah.
I'm kind of on board with everybody, even though I might disagree with them on one thing or another.
I think the scariest thing about the Arctic Convoy is it also insinuates that you can be right and be wrong at the same time. And sometimes the outcome of the decision can fall on like just the slightest hair, and and you don't know. Sometimes you can do all your best, even if it fails, maybe it's not even your freaking fault. Maybe it's just the way it shook out, and that's scary to me, right? You can't make you're making the best educated guess, but sometimes that educated guess may not work out for you, and if it does, that might just be luck. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah,
Yeah, definitely hats off to the writers. And I'm gonna destroy the names, but I'm gonna give it a shot. We got three of them. We got Christian Siebenherz, Harold Rosenloh Eeg, and Lars Gudmestad.
for the
Um,
writers. No,
yeah.
let me try the.
So I don't know which one came up with the ending, but this probably isn't it. But this is kind of what's going on through my head. It's almost as if someone learned what a Schrodinger's cat is and
Mm.
said, let's put let's cinematize a Schrodinger's cat, what that
Yes.
means, because that's exactly what it is. Is a cat dead or is a cat alive? You're right both times until you open it up and see what the actual answer is.
Yes, 100% Eric. Yes. And director, again, I'm going to try like Eric to pronounce it. Henrik Martin Dalsbakken. This is a fantastic film, folks. If the Arctic Convoy is not in your local theater, please give it a shot, rent it. If you like very argumentative, very interesting thrillers, philosophical stuff, and if you like tense thrillers, it's there, and action. And the Arctic
Yeah,
Convoy,
that's the thing. We should probably stress more. Like the action is few and far between, but when the action hits, it hits hard. Like the action scenes are great in this.
Eric, why do most, in your opinion, as a cinephile yourself, $100 million movie or $150 million movie out in the theaters, maybe it's going to be something like the Arctic Convoy, comes out in theaters and it's made in the US and it's directed by some, big budget filmmaker. I'm not going to name any names, Michael Bay, and you're thinking, why does this movie have no level of tension or stakes? The action just glosses over you, and you don't. But whereas something about the Arctic Convoy, which is made in on compared to something like that, a shoestring budget, but you're just right in the thick of things, and you're scared. And I think what they do with the special effects is not so bad, right? They do a good enough job. So,
You know what? If there's teams in the special effects, I wasn't even paying attention. I was just locked in.
yeah. Wow.
I'm sure if I go back and be like, oh yeah, that's totally CGI or that's totally whatever. But as I'm watching it, like that never even entered my mind once.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stay with 4.5 stars. I'm not gonna go 6.9 stars.
I was hoping I would talk you up to a 5.
A 5. I'm going to borrow Bruce Purkey. We miss you, Bruce Purkey. I was kidding about not wanting to see you on Patreon. We're gonna be seeing you on Patreon in about 15 minutes. Yes, as Bruce Purkey says, room to grow. I think this is for me, the Arctic Convoy, 4.5 stars with room to grow in theaters on demand July 26th. And Eric, for the upteen time, can you give your rating on the Arctic Convoy and just final thoughts?
This 6.9 stars. This is, I mean, I saw Fury. I absolutely love Fury.
Great
Went
movie.
back and watched it a bunch of times. This is Fury on a boat. And so I'll go back and watch. Everything I loved about Fury is all the same reasons why I love Arctic Convoy. That they have the characters, the vessel itself is a character in the movie, if you want to be that person. But I also I think in certain ways this might be even better than Fury. But just because that ending is so good.
Oh, there's we can not nitpicking. We can name some. There's one sequence where I don't even want to mention it. There are some harrowing sequences.
The ending on this one, obviously, we did mention it's one of two choices that are made. One of the choices is made, and then there's the fallout of that choice. I want to see an alternate ending where they pick the other one and see what happens there.
Right.
And that would be just as interesting, I think.
Look, this is one of those movies where it's on demand. I'm purchasing it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna wait till to see if it's gonna be on Blu-ray, but I'll add it to my digital collection. I love the Arctic Convoy so much. All right, so that's our movies. Eric,
we talked almost an hour on that.
Oh my gosh! Look, we'll spend 2 minutes on Deadpool and Wolverine. This is all I'm going to say, Eric. About are you a fan of the previous Deadpool movies? Everyone, even if people who are not MCU fans, ended up being fans of Deadpool because it was so meta, self-referential, the sarcasm. Did you glom onto the humor? I know you're not a anti-MCU person. You watch Marvel films. Have the Deadpool movies given you excitement to see Deadpool and Wolverine, or are you not a fan of the franchise?
So I'll say I just like Ryan Reynolds in general, especially like Buried and Waiting, and Deadpool. I'd like the first Deadpool movie. Saw the second one like that, but I never really went back to him. Like
neither did I. Yeah,
I think with the second one, I was excited to see Shatterstar, and they killed him. Like as soon as hey, here's Shatterstar, bam, he's dead, and that was a good joke in the movie. But like, I was like, I really was hoping to see Shatterstar and Cable and Domino come together and do the X-Force, but whatever. But yeah, I liked them, I enjoyed them, never really went back to them, and I expect that from this. I'll probably go watch Deadpool and Wolverine, mostly because I want to see if like they do the Wolverine masks, like with the
right.
It's just like surface level stuff.
Well, Eric,
watch some silly jokes, and that's kind of all I'm expecting from this.
And that's fine. That's fine because that's the mechanism of it. You're okay with that? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some people saying, "Oh my God, this is the greatest movie ever made." Blah, blah. I'm like, look, I haven't seen the movie. Maybe it is. It's not going to be, but maybe it is.
I remember
just so you know, it's in our contract that we're supposed to say that as movie critics that I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I mean, we've seen enough movies to know that. Yeah, I will say this: if Deadpool and Wolverine it becomes like this like huge masterpiece, I will officially have had my mind blown. I'd be like, did not expect that, but. At the same time, I'm not going in with arms crossed like, Deadpool Wolverine's gonna suck. Like, I'm just expecting it to be dumb fun. There was some funny jokes, Ryan Reynolds being funny, Hugh Jackman being the straight man. Hopefully we'll get to watch Wolverine with his full costume, and that'll be cool. Maybe a couple cameos, and it's got that. Hey, cool. I think the highest this movie can expect is probably 3-star banger territory. I don't see this as like a masterpiece of any type, but I could be wrong.
I think I'm just gonna echo what you say. I remember watching Deadpool. I think I saw one of those movies with Anderson. Deadpool, saw Deadpool 2. Really like both of them.
Yeah.
Lots of jokes. Had a great time watching them. Saw them both in the theater. All I do remember though is by the time of I was done with each of those movies, I was a little bit tired of all the jokes. That's not a complaint.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I had such a good time on both those films. Those were movie events for me.
It's just kind of relentless. It's like, oh, okay.
Right,
like,
right. No, but look, to your point, I think there's a reason why after all those years, I still, and neither have you, we haven't gone back to rewatch them.
Yeah.
I think, but that does not negate the fact that we both had a good time for both movies. And I think, are you gonna go watch it this weekend, maybe if you have time, or I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna watch it on Saturday.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Deadpool and Wolverine a shot. Listeners,
I'll definitely watch it. Probably not opening weekend. That might just be a little too much. But at the same time, maybe that's the best time to watch it when like all the
people are laughing,
all the fans are there, and then it kind of gets me a little like, where it would be like a 3-star movie, like the crowd things kind of bump it up to a 4-star movie. Because there's got to be something said about that, about the experience.
100%. And look, one of the reviewers was complaining, like, and he said, well, this movie, I enjoyed it, but all it was a couple of hours of fan service. If it's just a couple of hours of fan service, I'm not going to mind watching it in theaters. It's going to be fun. So I know it sounds like a critique on Deadpool and Wolverine, but if it's just a escapist fare that neither me nor Eric will return, or maybe even Bruce will return to, that's fine. As long as we watch it one time, that's all. They got our money.
Look at it this way.
Yeah.
I love sweet tarts. You get like a roll of sweet tarts. That's great.
100%.
I don't want to eat a full plate of sweet tarts. A roll is fine.
That's a great analogy, Eric Holmes. All right. Sweet tarts or not, tell us what you think of Deadpool and Wolverine. And most importantly, if you do follow our lead or lead, I don't know, however you want to spell lead, tell us if you see The Last Breath and The Arctic Convoy. Tell us what you think of these movies as well. Hit us up on our CinemAddicts Facebook group. Hang out with us. It's me, Eric, and Bruce, and William Lindis. So many great people there. Mitch Burns, the aforementioned Mitch Burns, Angie Clark. We have some really great people, Matt Stillman and Peter Beta, a great group of people over there. Before we go, we have a recommendation from Eric. Eric, we're going to get to your vroom recommendation next week on CinemAddicts because we're going to meet Bruce.
I was gonna mention that to you. Have you seen that yet?
I have not seen The Bike Riders yet. I do know I had lunch with Jeff Nichols one time for an awards thing. He was doing Loving. He was really nice to my mother. I will always love him.
If you can fit it in, try to watch Bike Riders this week, and then we'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
Because spoiler alert, Bike Riders is awesome. Go watch it. It's like Sons of Anarchy prequel. It's great. But
okay,
we'll talk about it more next week.
I will rent it, and we will talk about it next week. You and I will talk about the Bike Riders and how good the movie is. Did you like Loving? Did you like Jeff Nichols' that movie? Loving?
I like all Jeff Nichols movies.
Okay, very cool.
I'm a fan of all of them. They're all great.
All right, so we're going to close out with one recommendation from Eric Holmes. It's from a filmmaker, an actor that he really loves. His name, I believe, might be Jim Cummings. Is now a good time to talk about Cummings' latest film, Eric Holmes, or short?
I think now is a good time to talk about it.
Well, tell us about.
Actually, it's fitting because we are literally just talking about MCU stuff, and that's kind of what this is about. Greg, did you watch this?
I have not seen it yet.
So it's 11 minutes short by Jim Cummings, written and directed by and starring Jim Cummings, and Jim Cummings is going full on Jim Cummings in this, which is great. He shows up to a house. And he's got he's got balloons, and he's got a briefcase with him. And it's like, hey, it's now a good time. And then it's the Spanish family, they let him in. It's just being awkward. And then you quickly find out that he works with Disney, and he showed up to the house because there's a little kid in the bedroom, and the kid's dying from some disease, probably cancer or whatever. But and so it's like, oh, this is a Make-A-Wish situation. And so he can Jim Cummings shows up with the briefcase with a laptop inside that has Captain America 4 on it. And the kid's dying wish is to watch Captain America 4, so he's going to show that to him. And it's 11 minutes, just watch it. It's funny. It's awkward. It's Jim Cummings, like Jim Cummings doing the opening of Thunder Road. It's kind of that sort of thing. I think most people listening to us know who Jim Cummings is and what to expect from him.
Yeah.
And this is just, you'll say Nick Cage is going full into Nick Cage. People understand what that means. I think when you say Jim Cummings is going full Jim Cummings, you kind of understand what that means. And this is a great short. It's 11 minutes. Greg, if you want to watch it real quick and we can talk about it. I'll go step in the other room because I'm not allowed to watch this, and I'm going to have to take your cell phone as well. But yeah, that is now a good time. Really good. And
yeah. Cool. All right. So
check it out.
Yeah, go find it on YouTube. It's on what is YouTube. So you know what? We'll put a link. We'll put a link on
I'll find the link and I'll put on the Google Doc.
And we'll put on our show notes and a final Jim Cummings promotion. The Last Stop in Yuma County, a film that all three of us loved. It's currently available, I'm assuming on digital, but it's also available on Blu-ray, courtesy of Well Go USA. And that's The Last Stop in Yuma County is a fantastic, fantastic film. Do you want to say anything about The Last Stop in Yuma County before we go?
I think we already said it all when we talked about it, but you know what? It's awesome.
People in a diner.
I don't even know how many times I watched it at this point.
Are you kidding?
That movie's like,
you've watched it more than 2 times, 3 times?
That movie's got the rewatchability on that movie is insane.
Yeah,
it's just one of those. It's like a I don't know, like a Reservoir Dogs or Boondock Saints or Breakdown or think of any movie you've watched like 100 times. Last Stop in Yuma County is that movie.
Okay, well, that's a great recommendation for Eric Holmes, especially if you are a physical media enthusiast and you have not purchased The Last Stop in Yuma County. Maybe it might be a good shot. Yes.
I was looking for the link to put in the Google Doc. It's literally right next to the name.
Okay, no worries. I'll put it there on our show notes. We're going to see.
This is inside baseball, but I just like to let our listeners know how stupid I am sometimes.
No. We're both stupid. We're going to get our smarts in a couple minutes when we see Bruce Purkey for Patreon. Again, this month we're covering the movie Slither. What a gross movie, by the way. Slither, and what is the other movie? Brick. By Rian Johnson, who I like to call Rian Johnson just because of that name, but we'll give our full review of those 2 movies for our Patreon. Thank you, Patreon members, for supporting all 4 of us on CinemAddicts. Thank you, CinemAddicts listeners, for listening to CinemAddicts and supporting our podcast. We really appreciate it. I'm signing off with Eric Holmes. Final thoughts.
Check out what Bruce has to say. I'm sure he's right about everything. Unless he says Arctic Convoy isn't good, in which case don't listen to Bruce ever about anything.
I'm still
and William Lindis, get well soon. All the hugs. We love you.
We love you, William Lindis. All right, so that is it. And of course, before we get to Bruce Purkey, here's Claire.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining CinemAddicts.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of, what do we call this? Let's see. Cinema in the Attic, the sub broadcast of CinemAddicts, where I've said it before, I'm in the attic, right? They keep me in a box, chain me up, they throw me a little bit of food scraps during the week, and then eventually I get to come out and talk about movies for a few minutes. This is behind the curtain. This is my second version recording this because I thought I recorded it the first time and I did not record it. So here we go again. You missed all my great thoughts, which who knows how great they are. Whatever. We've got a feature this week, and I've got 1 feature this week. I think they have 2 or maybe 3. And I've got 2 or 3 good recommendations for you this week as well. The feature this week is The Arctic Convoy, directed by Henrik Martin Dalsbakken. This is a movie from Norway, I do believe. I may be wrong about that. I wasn't sure, Swedish or whatever it was. It's a World War II movie. Now, World War II movies are kind of like Westerns. Like sometimes they're fantastic, and a lot of times they are really mediocre in this day and age. So you have to kind of pick and choose to get a good World War II movie. Oh, we've had a few, just like Westerns. We had an Old Boy and not Old Boy. What was it called? Old Boy is a different movie altogether. Old Henry, that was it. That was a pretty good Western we had in the last couple of years. And with World War II movies, once again, you got your Glorious Bastards and other things that come along. So this movie, a little different, which is unusual. The fact that you can get an unusual or different World War II movie in 2024, that's a pretty good thing right out of the gate. What is the basic concept of this movie? So you have, Allied troops in the Russians that are stuck way over in the cold winter, and they're having a hard time getting any supplies. So the other allies over towards Iceland are getting convoys of ships and, taking all of those goods, which are mostly probably, weaponry and whatever, bullets and different kinds of artillery and whatever, and they're bringing them over in, convoys of 40 ships from Iceland all the way over to Murmansk. And they have British, warplanes kind of protecting them as they take their giant convoy over there. And the convoy is not with military personnel. It's actually civilian personnel, which is the other kind of big difference here. Now, right out the gate, I remember Eric had mentioned when he was watching this in our little off-side chat that we have, he had said something like this really reminded him of that tank movie, Fury, where it was a single tank, trying to make it behind enemy lines and trying to survive against all odds. And I also thought of Das Boot, similar in a U-boat. But with this version, of course, you have I'll tell you why it becomes a single boat. You have a single boat of civilians, they're not military people. So they're having to survive against military people, against big odds with their little boat. And the reason it's their little boat is because very quickly, like right out of the gate, the forces, whoever's running the forces says, disperse. Convoy, disperse. Apparently there's some kind of a threat, and if they're all grouped together, they're afraid that the convoy will get kind of destroyed en masse by various U-boats and other maybe warships coming their way. So if they all disperse, some of them have a chance of getting through. That's the basic idea. And immediately, our little boat that we're following, there's debate among the crew and among the captain and the crew, because it seems to be at that point a suicide mission. Like, why, if they're just out there all by themselves, they're sitting ducks. There's a first mate that's kind of new on the ship, and he might have different opinions than the captain, and there's other members of the crew that kind of might have different ideas as well. So that gives you some conflict right out the gate. Now, on the negative side, if you're a person that wants a real high action-packed World War II style of movie, more like a Sisu kind of a movie, this is not that. This is more classic tension, one situation, then maybe some group discussion and some pauses, and then another situation that's a stressing or a threat for them, that kind of a thing. So, but if you like that more classic style World War II adventurous sort of a movie where you've got, just everyday people or everyday sailors kind of in what might seem to be unwinnable situation and a very stressful situation, this may really hit the mark for you. I would say there's a little CGI in here to get some of the larger shots that wouldn't be, doable with practical effects. And I think they do it pretty well here with the CGI. It doesn't distract me. It didn't distract me much. I think it was used to great effect, where you have long shots of a whole bunch of ships or of ships going through, I don't know, ice fields, and you see a, warplane coming up overhead. All of it, I think, was done to pretty good effect. And also, I really enjoyed how in this movie you have them facing some kind of a situation. I'm not going to say what situations are, because discovering that in the movie is kind of a good part of the fun if you're enjoying this movie. But when they come up to a dangerous situation, you get to really see them trying to problem solve that, but problem solve it from their point of view, which is not being a warship and having very limited ability to combat anybody. Like, how are they going to survive, situation A and then situation B? And once again, I think each time one of those comes up, that is if you're enjoying the movie and the way it's progressing, that is the kind of thing that's going to really pull you through, because you'll put yourself in that, kind of that, those shoes. Like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Like, here is this military threat to me, and how do I survive it? So all that being said, I think it's pretty darn effective. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know what the guys think of it. By the little comment that Eric made, I'm thinking he at least liked it, if not loved it. I liked it a fair amount. I say I probably go 4 stars in this. I was thinking 3.5 or 4. I'm not sure, but I think this is pretty darn good. So I'm going to go 4 stars. I'm guessing Greg probably likes it quite a bit too. I'm just thinking this would probably be across the board, at least 4 stars. That's my guess, but we will see. If you've already heard it, you probably already know. That is the one feature I have for this week. And then I have 3 quick recommends for you guys. I'm going to go from worst to best, but none of them are bad. So that's a good thing. The worst, but also good one, is The Teacher's Lounge. The Teacher's Lounge is on Netflix, just dropped. This is also a movie from somewhere in the northern countries, and I did not write it down. I don't know if it's Sweden or Norway, Finland, Denmark. I'm not sure. It's somewhere up there. Directed by Ilker Katek. This is one of those movies I'd heard about for a while. I knew it kind of got a lot of little. It got some buzz during the award season. I don't think it got much, but it did get some buzz for sure. This stars Leone Benesch as Carla, and she is really the main star. She drives you through this whole movie. It takes place all in the school. It looks like it's a middle school, most likely by the ages of the kids. And the basic concept is, as we drop into the story, she's a teacher, Carla. She is, the whole school, I guess, there's been some controversy because there's been some, I don't know if it's money being stolen or what it is, but they assume some student is stealing stuff. And they're basically in the middle of investigating that. So she's teaching her class. Some other teachers that are running this investigation come into her class and say, all the boys get up, leave the room. All the girls stay behind, vice versa. I don't know if they do. Yeah, I think that's the way they do it. Either way, they basically start singling out certain students to start questioning them. And Carla immediately is like, this isn't how we do things, because if you're pointing out, if you're singling out certain children, even if you don't absolutely, have proof, the other students are going to now see them as possibly, a dishonest person, even though they may have no evidence that that's the case. And in fact, she even gets a little bit more upset because they point out one student named Ali, and he is, based on his ethnicity, she thinks that they're being racist, that they're picking on him because he's a Muslim or because he's a different race or what it is, but she just doesn't like it. She's kind of upset about it. So soon after that, you see her in the literal teacher's lounge, and they have this little piggy bank. And it's like this little bank that you leave coins in, kind of an honor system. When you get a snack, you leave a few coins behind, right? I mean, most people in offices have had something sort of like this. And she notices a teacher taking a few coins from that piggy bank. So you kind of feel like, you see the wheels turning in her head, like, oh, maybe it isn't a student stealing. Maybe it's a teacher. Not this one particularly, but maybe a teacher is actually doing the stealing. She sets up a little sting operation. She has her jacket hanging on the back of a chair in the teacher's lounge. She opens up her laptop, sets it to record video, and then leaves just to see if anyone will take her wallet or take any money from her jacket. And lo and behold, they do. And she gets video evidence of who it's doing that. And she goes to confront that person. And that is the beginning of the whole downward spiral of this movie, which is kind of this social examination of guilt and accusation and, how do we investigate something we think is happening, and how do we accuse somebody either publicly or privately, and how does that ripple out into the entire society that we have. So, and in that case, this is like a microcosm, obviously, of society. And you would think, based on her, she's just trying to do the right thing. But what happens is, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but the idea of what happens is, by trying to do the right thing, she essentially just opens up this huge can of worms that may or may not just negatively affect just about everybody that comes in contact with this all the way around. I think this is one of those movies. It's a great discussion movie. I don't think it's not the most cinematic movie at all. In fact, it has that 4:3 ratio. I think that just makes it even a little bit more like an after school special as far as the look. It's just very straightforward filming style. It's just like, we don't care the look, we just want to get to the story kind of an idea. But that being said, like I said, a great discussion piece. This is the kind of movie you could literally show a high school class on ethics and have people discuss, like, well, did that person do the right thing? What would have been a better way to do that? Was that, is that for the better good of society, or is that for the worse of society? And that's kind of the way this whole movie works. It's a experiment, a thought experiment almost of a movie. And in that way, I found it really interesting, very fascinating, but maybe not the most satisfying movie overall. So I would say for me, it's probably 3.5, solid, really well made, really interesting. The performance by Leone as Carla is definitely fantastic, and she has to kind of carry this whole movie. And it definitely says some stuff about what is happening in societies around the world, and it can be applied to pretty much any society, including ours. So I would say it's worth a look, especially since it's on a streaming service. And some people, this might strike them even harder, depending on what their personal life situation has been. I would say for most people, at least, it would be interesting and a good. It draws you through enough to keep you watching it for sure. Okay, but not a whole full-throated endorsement. It's a partially throated endorsement. Next one, very good movie, which I finally got around to, is A24's Love Lies Bleeding by Rose Glass. Rose Glass made Saint Maud, which is the classic A24 kind of movie, right? Slow burn, kind of horror, but kind of horror adjacent, very personal, journey kind of movie, but also with these horror tinges on the edges. But a lot of people be like, this isn't a horror movie, this is A24 horror movie. I don't like these. So if you told me that Rose Glass was going to make this neo-noir, sweaty, grimy, just in your face kind of movie, I would have been knocked over by a feather. I wouldn't believe it, but boy, oh boy, did she do that here. I would say it's a neo-noir. This is like a movie that takes the neo-noirs of like the Cowan brothers and stuff like that from the 90s, gives it its own updated flavor to great effect. And that being said, so you think of the Cowan brothers, they always have this comedic element to it. I think this does too. I think a lot of people might overlook the comedic element here because it's relatively subtle. It's not as in your face as it might be in some of the Coen Brothers movies, but I think it's there if you want to find it. And also in the Coen Brothers movies, a lot of times you have like some kind of a crime or crime adjacent sort of situation, and a lot of characters that are all not good people that all making it worse. And this movie definitely falls into that category. Basic characters in this movie. Lou, Kristen Stewart, who is doing amazing work in the last, up to 10 years now. Kristen Stewart is really finally coming into her own. I think people are recognizing how great Kristen Stewart is, but she is fantastic in this movie. And she is met pretty much equally by the character of Jackie, played by Katie O'Brien, who I had never seen before. But Katie O'Brien, this is really a breakout for her, and everyone else who's seen it, I think, pretty much is agreeing that Katie O'Brien is amazing in this. And they're the two you see on the poster. Along with that, you have Dave Franco, who's been he's become notorious lately, and he plays a notorious character in this, so it actually fits. He plays this real slimy character, so you're like, cool, I can buy him as that. It's like throwing Kevin Spacey in a role where he plays a total scumbag. You go, that's fine, it's a good role for him. You also have Jenna Malone in a pretty great role, and you have Ed Harris as Leo's dad. And boy, oh boy, Lou's dad, sorry. Lou is Kristen Stewart. In fact, I think they even call him Lou Sr. And the thing about this is you think of Ed Harris as like, you always think of him like he's getting kind of grizzled and older now. He's bald. And he's bald in this, but he's got the hair on the sides and around like that Friar Tuck. He's got it grown out really long, so he looks like this weird, it's like this, it's not a skullet or a mullet, but it's kind of like a bald mullet, and it's just scraggly, and he just looks like he's a meth crime lord or something. But what he is he's not a meth crime lord. In this, he's kind of the crime lord of this little tiny desert town in the late 80s, which is when this takes place. And basically he's got a gun range and you know he's doing criminal stuff on the side, like running guns or something. He's doing something like really not good. And he has a really strained relationship with his daughter, Lou. Lou hardly even talks to him. She works in a local like muscle gym. She's just a nobody in that gym, really, though. She kind of owns it, but she kind of doesn't own it. You know, her dad kind of owns it. So you know it's just one of those things where she's not really powerful no matter where she is. In fact, the very first shot of the movie basically is her with her arm in just a clogged toilet at the gym, cleaning it out by hand. And you know that she's not living her best life right now. And very quickly, she encounters the character of Jackie by Katie O'Brien. Jackie, who is just passing through town, is in her gym, and Jackie is just muscular and like a vision to her. You see Lou looking at Jackie as just like smitten, kind of like just immediately just a deer in the headlights when she sees Jackie. The way they do the meet cute in this is pretty great. The meet cute is basically she starts talking to Jackie after they're closing the gym, and immediately Lou is like, hey, come here, I got something for you. And just like you'd have the creepy guy in the van that would offer candy to kids or something, Lou offers steroids. She's like, here they are. This is what you want. This is your candy. And immediately they both just start shooting up steroids. So that should give you the flavor of this movie. It knows it's down in the grime, and it's reveling in it, and it just draws you through. There are twists and turns. It gets very violent in the way that a Coen Brothers movie would too. There are good people maybe doing bad things, maybe, or bad people doing good things. I don't know. People make choices that cannot be undone in this movie, and it just drives them down a rabbit hole of, mistake after mistake that's just snowballing into problems, big problems. And like I said, along the way, there are definitely some very low-key, darkly comedic moments, which I loved. There also is a little warning towards the end, and a little bit throughout, but definitely towards the end, there is some surrealistic elements that some people really have hated. They were like, oh my gosh, it really jumped the shark at the end. It just got way too ridiculous, and that's just so unbelievable. And none of it is supposed to literally be happening. There's a few metaphoric things happening with surrealistic images. I don't think it's that hard to figure out, and I don't think, even if you don't like it, it barely makes a difference in the movie. I think it was fine. I think it was cool. Some people have had a problem with that ending stuff. And I think the one little thing that I'll bring up is Rose Glass had a pretty great quote when she was talking about her own film here. And she said, really all this movie is about the character of Lou, who is trying to quit smoking and failing miserably. She's not wrong. If you look at it like that, a person trying to quit smoking and failing miserably as a through line to this movie, there is some great comedy to be seen there. And I don't think you can fail much more miserably than this movie than she does. She fails very, very miserably. I love this movie. I think this is a 4.5 movie. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. It's on Max. I think if A24 movies are not your style, that kind of artsy, overly moody, weird movie, that's the way kind of people think of A24 movies, I think this movie is way more crowd pleasing, even though it is violent. It is criminals doing criminally kind of stuff. I think that a lot more people might be able to latch onto this movie than you would the average A24 movie. So I would say give Love Lies Bleeding a chance. It's pretty darn good. And last but not least, I think my favorite movie of the week is a short by Jim Cummings. It is on Vivo or YouTube. You can find it. Just look up Is Now a Good Time by Jim Cummings, and it is easily watchable. If you don't know Jim Cummings, go back and look up Jim Cummings because he's awesome. Thunder Road, Wolf of Snow Hollow, the Beta Test are all feature films by him. But he did another short this year too. I think it was earlier this year or late last year. I think it was earlier this year. And it was great. I love the fact that he's just not going to stop. He wants to make movies, so he's going to do it one way or another, even if he has to keep making shorts until someone else will throw him enough money or he can crowdfund enough money to make another feature. But either way, he's making great content out there. And if you wonder if Jim Cummings is keeping his independent spirit or he's going to just sell out to big studios, like maybe he's just going to all of a sudden become a superhero and work for Disney or something, I don't think he is. I think this short pretty much burned all those bridges. And if you don't know why, you'll have to watch this movie, this short, which is called I Know or is now a good time. Basic concept. I'm not going to really tell you what happened in this exactly. I'm just going to say it takes this idea. Everyone's heard about this. You've got Make-A-Wish things, right? And a lot of times they'll be taking them to a amusement park, or take them on a trip to Hawaii the one time in their life before they pass away from whatever, to go see something special or have this special experience. And every so often you hear about, oh, the brand new Star Wars is coming out, but it's going to be out in 6 months before little Jimmy, kicks the bucket. Let's give him that chance to watch, Star Wars, the New Age, or whatever you want to call it, Star Wars 25, the New Age. And then, this kid's going to have this great experience that no one else can have until later this year. And hey, guess what? We're going to get some great PR out of this as well. So this takes that idea and it really runs it to the furthest, most hilarious and satirical point. And I love this very much. I think it's hilarious. Like I said, I think it's got great satire. I think it's scathing, and it has one of the most unexpected, finales to this idea that you would ever see. I did not expect it to go where it went, and when it did, it just made me even happier than I already was, and I was pretty happy at that point. I would say if there's any misstep, is there was not a mid-credit sequence or something in here. It should have had that as well. But hey, instead of being I don't know, this is as good as you can get. I think this is 5 stars for me. Or I am sure if Eric does not give this a 6.9 star banger, I don't know Eric at all, because this has to be that for Eric. Anyway, he's probably already talked about it. You probably already heard his idea about this. So I think we've come to an end. I will climb back into the box, and they're gonna shackle and chain the box shut. Like the crate from Creepshow. I'm pretty much like that. Like they have to chain it shut, and they lift it. There's a little gap. They can lift it enough to throw me some scraps. Just to keep me watching movies. They have a little monitor in there so they can feed me the screeners for the week, while they literally feed me a few scraps of, usually it's rat meat, but whatever's handy. Anyway, till next week's Cinema in the Attic, I guess that's what we're calling this? Cinema in the Attic? Cinema in the Attics? Do I have 2 attics? I don't know. Well, you tell me. What is this called? Is there a sounder? Is there music? I don't know. We shall see you again soon. Oh, last thing. I almost forgot. You have a new Patreon episode coming up here. We are going to be recording a Patreon later this day about 2006. We have 2 movies. We have Slither, which I've seen once before, and we have Brick, which I have never seen before until this week. And that is the choices we had based on a poll we put up on the CinemAddicts group. The top winner was actually The Fall, but I couldn't find The Fall. It's not streaming. You can't rent it, and you can't watch it for free anywhere. So unless you can find an expensive Blu-ray or DVD of it, you can't get The Fall right now. So, oops, darn. Anyway, so that's why we picked Slither and Brick. So hopefully you'll enjoy that too. If you're not a Patreon member, you can become one for $5 a month, and you can get that episode as well as a whole bunch of interviews and spoiler materials and early releases of episodes. But you know what? Just you listening is awesome. So if you don't want to be a Patreon, or you just don't have that kind of free money to throw around, just listen to what we put out every week, and hopefully you're enjoying it. And we love to hear your feedback and your thoughts and suggestions and whatever else you have to come our way. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon.